YouTube, what's going on? I thought this would be a good way to not kill some time, but, you know, let the chat populate, let people show up. I'll just play a little Super Mario World here on a Thursday night. I've totally lost track of days, by the way. Having Wednesday, Thursday off, which is not abnormal, but every time I get it, I feel like, is it Monday right now? Is it, whatever. No, it's gonna be Friday tomorrow. Anyway, so here we are. And, wow, I'm rusty already. Okay, that's not good. This is not the Mario game I normally play, by the way. Still trying to figure out if I was ever that good at this game, or these games, or if that was all just in my mind, because playing them now, whoa! Whoa, I just don't have the same skills I think I used to. Right, but is that recency bias? Is that what it's called? There we go, I like that. Alright. Look, just give me the leaf, let me fly. Or give me Yoshi. Whoa! You dummy. Probably something I could do here with this guy. Well, that wasn't it. That was it, though, look at that. Uh-oh. I gotta catch this guy. Oh! How about that? There's gotta be something good up there. Let's see. Yep. Can throw some fireballs. I just want to fly, though. The fireballs, to me? Oh, stupid. The fireballs never really were it. Whoa! There you go. You know what else? The music on Mario games were just incredible. Like, they're still hooked in my head. 30 years later. Alright. We're swimming. We're going upstairs. Ooh, we're going to the Yellow Switch Palace. Ooh. I don't know the point of this. Oh no. I didn't mean to do that. Is there something over here? Am I flying? Great. I don't even know what that is. Is he gonna do it? No, he's not. Alright. We're spraying yellow blocks all over the place. Sure, I'll save it. I guess I gotta go the other way now, too. Why did I start with that level? Yoshi's Island 2, here we go. I'm only gonna play one more of these. Alright, and by the way, get the chat going. We could talk A's, we could talk sharks, we could talk non-sports, whatever you want. Let me try and get through one more level. Oh, there he is! My dude. I'm not gonna read that, Yoshi. Come on. Have an apple. And don't run away from me. Man, he is fast. Nope. So I read that this game came out in 1990. Another Yoshi? It's pretty good graphics for 1990. I mean, honestly, 90 was still pretty primitive. Oh, all right. Let me take a quick peek at the chat. Let me see if anybody's, oh yeah, we got some bites. I'll give it one more second, then we'll fire away on the live chat. You know what, just give me one more level. Can you hang with me one more level here? Watch me embarrass myself. I haven't died yet. Surprising, which I probably just jinxed myself. Oh yeah, one of these levels. Look at that, all over the place. Whoa! Dun, 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 dun. I would have had like 3 Yoshis by now. Whoa, that's pretty cool. Here we go. I guess I can't go down there. Whoa! That was close. Does anybody else, by the way, hold down the Y button like the entire time? Like I'm trying to, no! Oh wait, no, that's fine. I just didn't want to lose Yoshi. Like, I go full speed. Okay, that's risky. That is really risky. Oh, I don't know how that happened. Don't ever do that again. I landed on all the blocks as they were collapsing. By the way, if anybody's good at this, comment and let me know how good or bad you think I just was there. All right. Let's do it. Sorry, I'll turn off Mario here. Give me a second to switch gears here. All right. Gary, is that you? Gary Bettman? It's been an interesting week for you, Gary. You know, and I know everybody, yeah, you want to talk about the Tom Wilson Rangers situation. It's George Peros' name was trending on Twitter. Like, that's not good. I'm sure there's some more questions about this, but yeah, the NHL has got like not an identity crisis, but we've got to figure out what their baseline is. You know, like, what are you going to fine players for? What are you going to suspend them for? What are you going to throw out a 40-game suspension for? What's the definition of a repeat offender anymore? It's unclear. And I think the more times that you come back with something that shocks everybody is only going to continue to kind of damage the goods a little bit. You got to have some consistency at some point. So I don't want to belabor the point here, Gary, which I know it's not you. Puck up. Oh, hey, how's it going? I'm going to try to answer every question I can here. Ronald, how's it going? You missed the flow. Hey, you know what? I just feel like I can breathe easier here. I'm actually, honestly, too, it's been about a week, a little more than a week. I'm still getting used to this. You know, I'm actually still, I look in the mirror and I'm like, whoa, because, you know, after 14 months, I got used to, you know, seeing longer hair, then a little bit of a hair kicking out the back. Remember when I used to show this shot on YouTube and it was like curly down here. It was wavy down there. So I'm still getting used to it too, but I'm glad you had a fun day at the airport. You know what? That's a great way to be outside, pass the time, watch some planes land. There's always something interesting going on at the airport. Trust me, I've spent lots of hours at respective airports. Oh, Zach, I know what you're trying to say. It was a great series between the A's and Blue Jays. You're only saying that because Toronto got, what was it, Toronto? Or are you guys the Dunedin Blue Jays? Or are you the Buffalo Blue Jays? I'm kidding. I do not want to poke fun at what those players and that team are going through. I give them any credit. All the success they have this year is even more impressive. It's multiplied, in fact, for me, because if you're a player, you don't even know where to buy your condo, where you're going to stay this year, what to do with your family. Are you going to be apart from them? Or it's just, what a disaster. And rightfully so. There is a pandemic going on. Canada's not in as advanced shape as we are in terms of the vaccines and getting to the next step. So I get it. But yeah, you know what? Going in, if you would have told me it was a series split between these two teams, I would have said, yeah, that's a good guess. But after the A's won the first two and the way they did, I felt like even a one-run game on, what was that, Monday? It was a little bit less close yesterday, or Tuesday, sorry. And then the A's lost yesterday and today. Again, I'm losing track of my off days here. But yeah, the way the A's started it and how they threw the first punches, it's kind of unfortunate for them that they only split. But I'm not surprised. Like I said, if you would ask me on Monday afternoon, what do you expect? I would have said closely contested series. And it turned out some of the games just weren't that way, but the series in general was. Hope the A's can get some defensive practice in after the past two games. You know, I've always said in the last couple years, knowing this current A's group, like not 5 years ago, not longer than that, but this current A's group, like when they're playing well, their defense is the sign. It's the sharp sign. And that doesn't mean that the bats are going to, come and go as sometimes they do, or a pitcher's going to have a rough start, or the bullpen's going to go through a rough streak. It's just that when the defense is consistently there, all the time. And then it's not for a couple games. You just know they've gotten away from it a little bit. And they'll get back to it. It's an A's team already, and I made a video on this, 10 different points after 30 games. And, one of them is just that they've already shown some character in late game situations, coming back even in games that they didn't win, but they showed some fight. They showed some resilience. They have comeback ability. So I just hope they can come back from, you guys are right. And Jess, you're absolutely right about this. Some defensive mistakes. Do you think Barbanov will re-sign with the Sharks? It's way too early for me, and especially all of the young players. It's way too early to predict and project. And what is your name, by the way? Wimajor homie? I'm not even going to try. I apologize if I got that wrong, or I don't even really know what I'm saying right there. But the point is about the Sharks. They've had so many players debut this year. They've had so many players, young players, get chances. Now, I'm not talking about, the established veterans of even several seasons, like Timo Meier, Kevin Labanc. They're veterans. They're on the younger side of veteranship. But I'm talking about players who are just coming up from the AHL or, prospects that are just debuting. It's not as if any one of them has had a tremendous, outstanding, gotta keep this guy season. I had hoped that. I'd really hoped, like for John Leonard, for example. I hoped there was a young player or two that put their stamp on this season. And I'm not here to make this personal. This is a collective statement. I'm not sure that any young player did that in 2021. Nikolai Knyzhov. I stand corrected. Okay. He's literally been a top 4 D all season long. Outside of that, who's the new player? The new player from this year that you can say totally, in there for next year and is established? I don't know. It's a tough question to answer. And that's not a great thing. That's really not a great thing for the team. So I don't know the overall situation, and and I will say this too. Since he's come up, I've been off hockey. I've been doing a lot more baseball. So all I'm really seeing is highlights. I'm trying to watch as much as possible, but I haven't seen his every shift. So it's really hard for me to say on that one. The Rangers getting dinged $250,000. Yeah, and you're right. Bushnevich getting, suspended after Tom Wilson got the $5,000 fine. That's what I was saying before about consistency, and just when you think you know what to expect, all right, here's Tom Wilson, throwing the bread man down. This is like, all right, and punching guys in the face when they're already in that vulnerable position after the whistle has, clearly been blown. It's just, and I like Tom Wilson. Curtis Brown loves Tom Wilson. There's a lot to like about him as a hockey player. But when you keep towing the line and you keep getting away with it, didn't Tom Wilson get suspended 7 games earlier this season and we all thought it was going to be 17? It's just, look, I don't mind guys, I don't mind guys testing the system. But if the system is broke and the system doesn't further, it doesn't clear up things, if it makes it more cloudy, then that's like going against what you're trying to do. I just want to understand. I want to know when I see something, what to expect from the league. Predictability. Players are still going to do stupid things. They're going to cross the line when adrenaline kicks in too hard. They're going to do it. But I think what we all want, like I said, is we can all look at something and we can all pretty much pinpoint a range of, all right, here's going to be the discipline for that. Not every time, oh man, let's roll the dice on this. And then you what? $5,000? That's it? So, Fiers is looking rusty as heck right now. You know what? It's been 2 rough starts for him to the season. And I was thinking about this earlier today. It was a rough first 2 starts for every A starter this year. So just remember, these were his first 2, and he had the back injury that he's coming off of. So I'm not here to make excuses for anybody. Absolutely not. But I would say let's give this one a little bit more time. And knowing Fiers, knowing the track record, knowing, beyond his win-loss record, I would love, and I don't have the info here, I'd love to just go back on games that were won and lost that he started. Well, you know what? Let me do this for a second. I'm gonna take myself off the screen. Mike Fiers game log 2021. When I say I'm going to take myself off the screen, I'm taking my computer off the screen for just a second. And what I'm going to do here, let me just go ahead and make this guy full screen. And then I think I can bring, yep, I can bring that up. Perfect. Okay. So let's go into Mike Fiers and let's go into game logs for 2021. I'm sorry, 2020. I'm losing track of my years. All right, Mike Fiers game log for 2020. Now, this is great. Okay, so check this out. It goes start by start, and it goes the team. First off, did he get the result? That's over here, right? And then what was the game result for the A's? So win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. Like they won way more times than they lost when Mike Fiers started. Now, to be fair here, his record shows at 6-3, and this is a short season, but I'll also show you the season before this. The team was 8-3 when he started. That's kind of the more, to me, meaningful stat. Did the team still win on the day it was your turn? Let's go back to... Now, I'm curious here. I don't know this one for sure, but I want to know what the prior season says. Okay, so this one is, and this one is not as good, but it still gives you an idea of his 33 starts here in, did I just click on, was that 2019? Is that where I am here? Yeah, man, I lost myself. Yeah, 2019. So he had a 15-4 record in 2019. As if that is not, in itself... Oh, now I can do that. There we go. As if the 15-9 is not impressive. 15-4 is not impressive. They won 22 of his 33 starts in 2019. So that's kind of the point in all this. They win when Mike Fiers starts. And that's why I'm just saying, as he goes through this stretch to start off the season here, let's give it a little time, right? Everybody else had the benefit of a couple starts. Bassett, Montas, Minaya, even Cole Irvin's first two. Now, they were against Houston, but you understand what I'm saying. Gary, we just talked about that. Not your fault. I know you put that in earlier. Zach, I am not coming back on the Sharks this season. I did come back for the Patty game when he surpassed Gordie Howe, but that was planned. And as I've said before, for a lot of reasons this year, I love crossing over. I love... even doing the doubleheader thing, baseball in the afternoon, Sharks game that night, that's happened a lot. That's happened almost every year for the past 5 or 6, at least on one occasion. But this year, because of pandemic, restrictions, compressed hockey schedule, our studio schedule with, you guys have seen us produce some Sharks games, like Patty's surpassing Gordie Howe. We were at the tank that night when the game was in Las Vegas, so we've had to use the tank as an auxiliary studio. It's just too much stuff going on this year to make that happen. Does the NHL standings go off wins or those points? Look, as far as I know, they never got away from points. I mean, there was the conversation about Vancouver, if they really weren't going to be able to finish the year, or if they were going to miss a ton of games, then they may have had to change the North Division. But just, it's one of those things where they're trying to make it as normal as possible this year, even though half the teams in the league have missed a handful of games in about a week's worth of time. That's pretty incredible. Honestly, that this ship is still moving forward in the right direction, it's incredible. Dalton, I appreciate that, man. You know what? I come on here when I can, and I always come on and say, well, I'll do 30 minutes. And then next thing I know, it's an hour and 30 minutes. So time does it gets away from me here because I enjoy it. And I like seeing all the comments, and I like just responding to you guys in real time. The other thing I was thinking of is, and I had a tweet about this earlier today. I have a voicemail line, and you can call that line. Now, the number's out there. I could probably put it on the screen here too. But if you call that number and leave a message, I could play that message here on the live stream. I could answer that, or I'm pretty sure that I can actually take phone calls from that line, like live on the air, as if we were doing talk radio or sports radio. So I haven't really got into that. If somebody wants to test that out, just let me know. I can flash the number on the screen, but I don't know. I wasn't set up for that, so I'm not sure I could even pull it off here tonight. Wins equal 2 points, then 1 for the overtime loss. I think you're maybe explaining the NHL playoff or the point system. Imagine Brody playing Super Mario Maker. What's that? Is that something new? I don't even know. Your boy's popping off. Now, who's your boy? By the way, you know what? When boy is spelled B-O-I, I love that. Is it like, boy? My boy is popping off. I love that. It's just like, I've seen like Skater Boy, spelled like that. Skater Boy, like B-O-I. I know, it's the cool way to do it. I like it. That's funny to me. Oh, pretty good at the Mario game. You're from the 90s. You grew up playing those. Again, that game was from 1990. Oh, what has goalie interference ever been? Especially if you're a San Jose Sharks fan. There's a couple things the NHL needs to clear up. Goalie interference is one of them. They had a real problem with the distinct kicking motion for a couple years too. I want to say that was about 5, 6, 7 years ago. They had a streak of just couldn't get it right. Pucks going off skates, and if it went off your skate at all, it looked like it was a kick, even if it wasn't. And finally, they just said, we're going to count more of these than we take away. And if it goes off your skate, so long as you don't literally like distinctly kick it in, you're good. You can even move your blade forward so long as you didn't kick it. You're fine. But goalie interference is so gray. There's just so much gray area there. And I understand every play is different, contact, how it started, who touched, who impacted who, where, and how. But there has to be some clear-cut definitions that they can get to and do a better job. And also do a better job with replay. And that's another point too. Baseball this season has been crazy bad with replay. Stuff that we saw in person, we're like, wait, that's not the right call. But they'll review it, they'll get it right. And then they review it, and you're like, what? You still didn't see what we just saw 10 more times? Like Elvis Andrus the other night got called out for running out of the baseline because the catcher's throw hit him up the first baseline. Like he wasn't even on the infield grass. How are you out of the baseline? But anyway, goalie interference is one too. They'll go back and look at it, and you're like, wait, I'm pretty sure that he was impacted. Can you make any contact? If your stick gets stuck underneath their pad and somebody else pushes you and your stick moves their pad because you got pushed, is that on you? Just clear it up. There's so much. And it goes with the fact that every single goal should go through a pretty strenuous review, but especially ones where there's contact out front. My wife is not sad about the flow being gone. I don't think anybody's. There are a couple people actually that I saw at the Coliseum earlier this week, and they're like, "Oh, I really liked it." And I'm like, when people say that, my first impression is they're messing with you. That can't be. Nobody could have liked that. I don't know. Apparently some did. Feels great to be back at the Coliseum. Unfortunately, I don't know what the schedule is like for the rest of our baseball coverage this year, how much will be out there. I just knew these first 5 weeks that we're basically now completing, we'd be out there a ton. And we have been, and it's been great. Couple walk-offs, just seeing the game in person, getting a feel for it. And we're still not allowed to do our thing like in person with the players. They keep those guys isolated and bubbled up huge. So in a sense, it doesn't feel completely normal for me. Like I can't hang around the batting cage during batting practice. I just can't, not allowed. So it doesn't feel normal, but just being out there and especially after not, before opening night of this year, the last time I was out there was 2019 game or the wild card game. So it had been a long time. I didn't go to any games in person last year because I was doing them all right here in the home studio, by the way, which used to look like this, right? Until I did the LED lighting upgrade. You guys like this? I mean, this is probably more like professional, This is probably more for the purpose of doing broadcast television. I should do that. But hang on, watch, it's going to flash here. But since I'm doing YouTube videos, why not pop a little color in there? What happened to the yellow top uniforms? Ashton, first off, they're gold. I'm just messing with you, though. I know a lot of people say yellow, and then, the perfectionists are like, they're gold, which is true. It's green and gold. But I'm glad you asked that because those used to be my favorites. 2012, I want to say, 11 or 12 was the first year. And when they debuted those, I thought those were so sharp in day games, how they contrasted with the dark green seats of the Coliseum and just pop of gold. It was cool. I think what they've done is they've gone away from that now with the Kelly greens. Now that they have those, and they have the dark greens too, which I think were kind of voted as just more popular than the golds, I guess, by the players. Apparently, the gold's not even an option anymore. I was told that a couple years ago. I don't know the full details on that. You know what? I see a couple super chats here, and I'm going to speed to those in just a second. Actually, I'll just get to them right now. First off, Jessica, thank you so much. I really do appreciate you here in the super chat. You need to get a Nintendo Switch for the Super Mario Maker game. We basically customize levels for you. Or to try out, or you get to look up the code. Okay. So you make a level and then you challenge a friend to do it. That's pretty creative. You know what? Back in the day, especially, I would have loved that. Like being a kid now is, I guess it was cool back then because you had Mario. And Mario just came out. But I like the fact that kids have that. And Jessica, again, you didn't have to do that. But I do really appreciate you here on the Super Chat. And Jess, I appreciate you also here on the Super Chat. You're welcome for the YouTube stream. Wow, that is very thoughtful of you. It's very generous. And as I always say here on the Super Chat, all of this goes to building out the home studio a little bit bigger and better, and the ability to do more of these and have the right equipment. All this stuff is yours truly, put in, installed, set up, did all that stuff. So that's what this is all about. That's why I really appreciate the Super Chat because it's kind of a hobby and it's a great way to connect. And I certainly appreciate you guys helping it going. That's really awesome. So I appreciate, you know what? We had Jess and Jessica. I appreciate both of you. Thank you so much for doing that. Let's go back to some more here. What do I think about the Luzardo situation? Cled, that is, and when we found out the other day, Bob Melvin, I didn't know that was coming. I mean, I had drove to the Coliseum. I just got to the office. I wasn't on Twitter between that. So I was, for like an hour, I was off social, and that's when the news broke. And then he was asked about it, and they're like, what's the latest on Jesus' hand? I'm like, hey, what? And, I know Jesus has basically already kind of apologized and, said how unfortunate it is and he regrets it. Of course he does. And this is a life lesson. Since I have a controller here, I look, he's playing video games. We've all been there, like, dang it, or it's so unfortunate when it's your pitching, well, in his case, left hand, and pitching hand and hairline fracture. I mean, you can kind of, it doesn't take a genius to see what he did. The pinky's here and bang. And I'll say this, like, video games on his day to pitch too. That was the other thing. This happened on his day to pitch. He still went out there and pitched, not knowing because they didn't do a full x-ray and they didn't understand that it was broken yet. I'm sure he was in pain. He tried to pitch through it and then got criticized for the bad outing. Little did everybody know he had a broken finger. But like, I can't tell you, and this is like, this is the remake. This is not the original controller of my childhood, but I can tell you those got thrown a lot. Because I had like a rage issue with video games. Like, and so I get it. I'm not even trying to make light of this situation, but I think the lesson is like, just throw the controller, not hurt and hit your pitching hand. But in reality, when you and here's the other problem. You're saying, well, how could a guy be so competitive? Do you know what he does for a job? Do you know what he does for a living? Like that's the reason a guy like this is playing a video game the afternoon he pitches, because he's getting the competitive juices flowing. Like he's kind of like warming up for the fight. So terribly unfortunate. I don't know how long he's going to be out. I know it was kind of rough for him to start this year anyway. He's kind of working through some things, but just terribly unfortunate. Great guy, great kid. And that's the other thing. He's a kid. Is he 23? If I'm going to pick an age range of kids, young people breaking their hand from a video game, he's in the demographic. So I feel bad. I understand. He knows there's a level of professionalism that a Major League Baseball player needs to have and protect their assets, and it just didn't happen. Gary Bettman, good or bad? There was a lot of eyeballs on the NHL this week. I haven't seen ESPN consistently talk about hockey all week in a long time. I'm not going to get into a ton of detail here with the NHL and broadcast arrangements, but that's probably expected that ESPN is absolutely ramping up what they're doing with the NHL. Where were they, though, for the past 15, 20 years? They'll do a good job. I don't know. That one's always been interesting to me. How hockey got pushed away, and now all of a sudden it's like, oh, come on right back in. We're gonna bring you right back on in here, put you on the stage. I hope it's good for the game. I hope it's good for the NHL. Caker Girl. You know what? I miss being on pre and post game for the Sharks, and even when they've lost. And I also want to say this. I'm going to wait till their season is over. And if you want to give me like a good 3 to 5 days to really put in some work and put in some real thought of what I want to say about this team, how I want to break it down. I've thought about this, like how to break out the season into pieces, how to break down issues into manageable, like bite-sized things I could pass along, opinions. So I'm going to do a season review on the Sharks, and realistically, part of it is a dissection of what went wrong again and where are they at moving forward. I'm not going to sit here and play GM. That's pointless. It's in a sense that, you don't know what's out there. You don't know what's available. You don't know any of that stuff. And I also hate to talk about, well, you ought to ship this guy around, do that. I hate to talk about people like they're a product rather than, So, but I am interested. I'm very interested in the best scenarios for this team. And I think the overarching theme of all this with the Sharks is that they have some very difficult decisions to make. When I say very difficult, they didn't want to be in this situation. They didn't sign any of the players that they have right now to long-term deals. They didn't sign any of them to say, well, we're not sure if this is going to work out, but they went into every deal with the absolute best intentions. And some have worked out, Some have worked out better than others. Some have worked out less than others. And I know a lot of people are talking about some as, difficult right now. So I do want to make a season look back and kind of a current scenario video on the Sharks pretty soon. I'll definitely get to that. So probably maybe about a week from now or later. Give it a week to 10 days, and maybe I'll have something here. Maybe I'll do that one live too. Let's see here. Sorry, you know what? I am realizing that there's a lot more comments I need to get to here. Here's a good one. Do you think with the crowds coming back, it could swing momentum with players? For me, when I played sports without a crowd, I'd feel like it would be a glorified exhibition game. I think, you know what, Butcher? I think as fans have come back, and I say this being at baseball games. Well, I went to some Sharks games where there were no fans allowed, and it was weird. You're absolutely right. It's not even like an exhibition game. It's like a computer simulation that you're playing in. Everything seems a bit fake. And I give all the hockey players this season credit because most teams through most of the year had no fans, right? It wasn't until probably around game 25 or 30 probably that the Sharks, no, wait a second. No. Well, first off, it was only a couple weeks ago. I guess what I'm saying until I got to go see a game in person. That's maybe what I was thinking. It was probably around game 30, 25 to 30. But having seen, and at that point, a lot of other rinks around the league were just starting to open up. So maybe that's what I was trying to say. It was about half the season that a lot of teams just start opening up their doors to any fans. So January and February and even some of March, it was really, really weird. And to try and play through that and play like it's normal, impossible. Really is impossible. And you're right. I would say having fans back and seeing that like at baseball games, it's still enough. Like it's crazy. And the way that they spread out the fans for proper social distancing, I mean, they announced one game at the Coliseum, like 9,000. And the A's had some late game heroics. And you kind of feel like it was more like 29,000 just because everybody's spread out. It was still loud. It does make a difference to have fans versus none. But nothing replicates a full house of a Coliseum or an SAP Center or any major pro venue across North America. So I definitely think it swings momentum with the players, to your point. And I don't know that it gives any team the advantage, because I think away teams benefit from the crowds too, if you can believe it, just to make it feel more normal and natural. Kaker, do I keep in touch with the Sharks players? Very specific, like Timo Meier, or not so much. You know what? I try not to bother them a lot during the season. I'll hope to catch up with some of them in the off season, especially if we have news one way or the other, if something big happens with the team. And I think, gosh, that's another point about the Sharks. I know this is not your question, but you're probably looking at a summer where, at least one wow move has to happen. Now, what is that wow move? I don't know. But in order to spark change, you're going to have to, alter the way things are structured right now. So to answer your question, Cake Girl, I have everybody's phone number, and quite honestly, texting is the way to go with most, like most human beings in 2021. So I try not to bother them a lot during the season, unless there's really something that I need to know or would help them if I could clarify and stuff like that. So no, you're right. Not on a regular basis, not so much. Oh, you know what, AJ? That's a great point too. I talked earlier about young players, and Rudolph Balcers is definitely in that conversation. It is so bizarre that he was in the Sharks organization, was part of the Carlson trade, and then acquired this year, I want to say after training camp had concluded, if memory serves me correct. January was a blur for a lot of different reasons, but yeah, that's a good one too. Rudy Balsers. Oh, no, see, AJ, that's a better comment right there. Curtis who? I must have been talking about him a long time ago. I agree. Curtis, I don't really know Curtis. What are the chances that Marcus Semien comes back? Oh, I know. He had a monster series. And I got to say, Jess, I ran into him and his family after the game on Tuesday night. I just walking out, totally did not expect to see him. Like, in fact, he called me out. I was looking on my phone, of course, tweeting, not paying attention to walking out. And he's like, "Hey, Brody." It's like, it's dark in the parking lot, and I'm like far away, and all of a sudden I come into the light, he comes into the light. I'm like, "Marcus." It was awesome, and his whole family was there, and I told him, man, it's been weird, the last couple of games to watch him in person, and it happened months ago, but just how nice of a guy he is. And he actually said thanks for all the stuff we did on TV to kind of highlight him coming back that night. And I said, look, man, you deserve it. Like, that's not even a question of whether we do it or how much. Like, you deserve it. So great guy. Just unfortunate that he's not part of the A's anymore. And he's on a hot streak right now. AJ, wouldn't it be great if the NHL put out videos explaining why they did not suspend someone? Yeah, and you know what? It's kind of interesting that the narrated videos that started coming out years ago, and they still do. But I'm sorry, like I want to see people in charge, like teaching you on there. I make a video like this with a little production value. By the way, have I forgot about my second camera up here? Make a video with some production value. Like, teach people, here's what, and you're right. You can't just make a video saying this person broke this rule on this day, da-da-da-da-da. And then next time, when somebody is not suspended, Tom Wilson, like, show us. Like, okay, so we didn't think when, and who was he punching? Who was he punching on the ground right by the cage? I don't remember. Here's why we think this incident was not worthy of a fine or a suspension. And then here, when he body slams Panarin, here's why we think that. Yeah, I agree. That is you know what? Spot on right there. But no surprise, AJ. We think alike. Did I do a personal interview with Marcus when he made his return? No, I did not. And you know what, Zach? I didn't want to. It's just the thing. Like, I have access to. I can connect with a lot of people if I really wanted to, but I didn't want to bug him. Guy's got so much going on. He's only in Oakland for 4 days. Everybody probably wants something from him, tickets, this, that. I didn't want to bug him. But like I said, I ran into him on Tuesday night. Him and his dad, Damien, great guy. So it was good to see Marcus. From the Bay, 408, win these games and wrap up this short season. I agree. You know what? It just, and to me, I know it's not what you asked, but I'm going to go there. It was the sequence of games, the 7 straight against Anaheim and LA. And they won those first 2, I want to say, against the Kings. And then it's where the rut happened. And that was the chance to, they had played well. They had gone through so much adversity. Those, first 40 straight days on the road. And what was it, first 14 games, 12 or 14 games away from SAP Center, and even like 14 out of 16 away from San Jose. And they held their ground, and then even after that, up until really the midway point in the season, and it was in the late 30s and 40s when things just kind of, they hit that skid and just knocked themselves out of playoff contention. So at this point, yeah, I mean, obviously the other night they were in that overtime game too. Couple goal lead against the Avs. The Avs win the draw in overtime. Sharks don't even touch the puck. Colorado scores ball game. That was rough. Are we doing any games at the Coliseum this homestand? You know what? We were there Monday and Tuesday, and I think we're in the studio starting tomorrow night and this weekend. So I think we're done for this homestand. Hugo, but I appreciate that. If you're going to be out there, I hope you have a really good weekend. Seems like a beautiful weekend for baseball. Need a Tom Wilson rule. Great screen name, by the way. Sunday Night Sushi. See, it's not, for me, it's not necessarily that you need to hammer the certain player. You just need to establish that if anybody does something like that, but especially if it's somebody with a track record, a history, you know. And I also want to say this. Everybody's pointing the finger at George Peros. And for some reason, or for some reasons, you know, rightfully so, he is the person apparently in charge of the Department of Player Safety. But what if he doesn't have as much control as you think? Hypothetically. What if he's kind of a front man and a face of the Department of Player Safety more than anything else? Have you thought about that? Is that impossible? Did they kind of bring him in as, you know, well, you put your stamp on everything and people will buy it because it comes from you. But in reality, it's all of us. You're the one who just signs off on it. Are you a company guy, George? I'm not trying to throw out an accusation. I just don't know. Like we don't see and hear a lot of George Peros. Am I missing something, by the way? Like, do you guys see him quoted or making videos or, you know, so I'm wondering in that sense if the reason he's not out there like that is because he doesn't want to really put his stamp on it. And people know that that's his title, he's in charge of it, but he's like, you know, I don't know. It's not to criticize him. It's also not to take away all the blame from him. It's really just to say I have no clue. I just do not know. Live questions on air would be awesome. You mean like on television? You mean YouTube like this is not good enough for you? You need it to be on NBC Sports? It's not a bad idea. But that's the thing. Something like this, to me, is great. I can chat with you guys. I can do it here from the home studio. I have complete control over this, this whole deal over here. But this idea on network television, I don't know that it flies. I like it, but I don't know. We could try. Bring back the long hair. All right, give me until, let's see, what is it? It's mid-2021. I'm going to need until almost 2023 to get it back to where it was. 447 days from now, or from last week. Oy. Hope the Capitals get it like the Houston Astros for the rest of this season. Yeah, Wilson went borderline Bertuzzi. Yeah, on Steve Moore, yeah. If the league won't send the message, let the players do it. You know what? The Wilson move, Bertuzzi, though, was completely from behind. Okay, initially I thought they seem a lot alike. They don't seem as, but they do have, I will say this, Jolie, I will say this. They have the spectacle. Like, everybody's paying attention to this. And, I don't remember, like, at that point, was Bertuzzi a regular offender? Was he as regular an offender as Tom Wilson has been? I'd actually have to kind of go back on that one. Because my only, the big one that stands out was the one everybody talks about, the punch to the back of the neck. But that's why it's so perplexing to me. Like a $5,000 fine, that's almost insulting. And for the Rangers to have that whole situation of putting out a statement and then firing some people and wondering if, they say, well, it's unrelated. Maybe it wasn't. So I think the Sharks should keep Marleau after this season. Let me respond with this. It depends where they're at after they're pretty close to rebuilding their team for next year. What does Patrick Marleau bring you? a great example. How to condition yourself, how to act, how to be a team player. This is a guy who can be on your power play, your penalty kill. And do I have any reservations that he will show up in any different shape than he showed up at 41? No, I don't. But how many more years after this? I don't know the answer to that either. I don't know. To the point of this question, if your roster is full because you like all the players you have and you just don't have room, okay, you tried. I get it. But if you have even one space, if you have one spot that's kind of up for grabs and nobody has asserted themselves into it, then I don't see why you wouldn't. And that's the position the team is in. They're in that position because you also know pretty much what his contract's going to be. You know he's affordable. Again, you know he wants to play here for you, unless something else came along, and maybe it might. Maybe that will not even be. Maybe I could say they should keep him, and he'll go somewhere else instead before they even have the chance. I don't know. So let me try and get to some more questions here. Man, I got way behind here. Let me see. Sorry, lights are always better. Yeah, I guess that you made that comment when I flashed the lights here. When I go to another baseball game, I want to try getting all the players of a minor league team to sign a baseball just like the ball from Sandlot. Good luck. I mean, well, first off, here in 2021, I don't know how close you can even get to the players, nor are they interested in handling somebody else's baseball and being in proximity. But it's a good, you know what? Puck up. Got to watch how I say that. It's a good thought for the future. Seriously. And minor league baseball, you know what? Oh, wait, no. Oh, no, you did say minor league team. I'm glad that you brought that up because minor league baseball is just finally now getting back underway. And how what's the right word? Decimated it was last year, and to get shut down. And you think Major League Baseball relies on fan attendance and ticket sales and hot dog sales. Like minor league baseball, that's all they have. And they lost it for more than a year. How about all the players that didn't get to develop last year, or, it's fine. They had to get other jobs or they struggled. That's really unfortunate. A lot of people struggle. But for them to not even have the platform of their game for more than a year, I'm just happy it's back. And I think that, so a lot of teams got cut out of the mix. Teams basically went under. Affiliations are down across the big leagues. So it's just, minor league baseball, it might have needed a little bit of pruning to begin with. I don't say that favorably. I don't want people to lose their jobs. It was a little bit overinflated maybe in how many different levels and leagues and teams there were. But all I hope for is if we're going to have less teams, have them be better taken care of by their major league affiliates. Ronald, can we hear your Jumbo impression? Hey, Brody, do it for the voice, eh? I've said it before. It's something about this room, this microphone. I don't know. Maybe I need Curtis next to me. By the way, that's another thing I'd really like to do. Surprised or not. Surprisingly or not. I want to do a live chat with Brownie on here at some point. We'll do all this after the season is over. But we'll definitely do it. Jessica, you grew up watching me on the Sharks broadcast? What are you, like 22 now? Well, actually, you might be 22. You know what? It's this was year, let's see, 2009, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 13 years? No, because this would have been the 20 season. 12 years. So right. 21 would start next year. This was my 12th season covering the Sharks. So maybe you were 10 and now you're 22. I guess. Oh, okay. I feel slightly old now. But you know what? In that same respect, that's what I'm aiming for. I'd like to do this stuff as long as I humanly can. So that's awesome. The flow is glorious. It gave you something to gave us something to keep us together during the pandemic, like Aquanet and Bangs, Jenko jeans, and malls. Man, all right, now you're taking it back to a prior decade. That's awesome. What game? You know what? I don't know the game that Luzardo was playing. I missed. I found out a lot of information aside from his press conference, but I don't know what game he was playing that caused him to get upset and hurt his hand. And I also want to say this. I give the A's and I give Bob Melvin, who revealed it first, I actually give them a lot of credit for giving you enough information in this to understand. They could have lied. Could have lied and said he was getting out of his car, he slammed the door on accident, caught his pinky. They could have said, right? They didn't have to say he was playing a video game. They didn't have to do that. And I don't think, look, is this going to affect his career? Is this going to put him in bad standing? No. It's an unfortunate, it's an accident. It was a bad accident. But I actually, in a day and age of everything being kept a secret, like you know it is in sports, for them to come out and just be honest about this, I actually give them full credit, full marks. You don't follow the A's much. We got to get Sunday Night Sushi. We got to get you some baseball. Hey, it's Corona on the Super Chat. I'm sorry I did not see that the first time, but I greatly appreciate it. Nanoleaf lights could be a great aesthetic investment. You can have them do patterns and colors, green and gold for A's and teal and white for the Sharks. Teal and white for the Sharks. You know what? First off, Corona 29. I appreciate that. Thank you very much for jumping in the Super Chat. I've thought about on this wall, on this wall, I've thought about, so all this is like it's like a photo backdrop, and you can kind of see how, that's more naturally the color that it is right there. It's like blue and purplish color, and I think there's a little bit of red on it. But when I throw these, hang on, they're going to flash here. When I throw these LEDs on them, then they kind of change, and there's actually also like some green down there. But I was thinking about replacing this wall because it's too, I don't know, it might be too much. And I was thinking about a Nanoleaf. So again, every contribution like that here on the Super Chat, it goes to stuff like that. That's exactly what I try and do. It's the same thing when I put in these LEDs and a couple other, all of this stuff. Sorry, was I on that? Yeah, there we go. All this stuff down here, especially like the Stream Deck and this mixer, the switcher right here, which allows me to do these live streams. These are all the upgrades and stuff that I've been doing in here to do clean live streams, to have it be in HD, all that stuff. So yeah, that's where all this goes. And I really appreciate your contribution. Especially funny to see ESPN all over hockey after Max Kellerman dumped on the NHL like 8 months ago. Yeah, and what was his comment? Nobody in North America? No, or is it in the United States? He basically said nobody cares. And they're still going to have probably more people who, shun it and dismiss it. And, the other thing I'm interested in is, hockey wants to appeal maybe to even a broader audience. It always has, and it should. It should always try and get the most viewers and spread itself out. But I'm curious in all the new arrangements if you're going to see people covering hockey who have clearly not been around it or have never done it before. And that's, look, I had a first day on the job covering hockey too, but at least at that point I'd been watching the Sharks for many years, so that wasn't, I had a little something in my back pocket. I'm talking about, poke check. How is poke check different from a hip check? I don't get it. So, we'll see what they do. I'm not in the place to go into a lot of detail on any of these things, but I'm curious, and I know what you're talking about. Have you covered your reaction to the Nature Boy Jumbo tribute to Patty? It was the most memorable tribute in a sea of icons. Yeah, Jumbo had him get himself exposed there, huh? And he had Marner and Matthews, and you know what? Full credit to those guys too for wanting to make a video. They're like, in case you all saw it, right? But hey, Patty, congratulations! Hey, it's Mitch and Austin, da 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 da, and all of a sudden they turn around and Jumbo's been standing there playing with his hockey stick, and he's completely naked, just looking like what? And it is so perfectly played. But my reaction when I first saw that, it was almost not, some people were shocked. But I think like a lot of you weren't shocked. You were more like, oh my God, this is perfect. Oh, this is just, Think about the camera person who had to shoot that and had to put the blur on them. They all had to be exposed. They all had to, right? So, but if you're around Joe, that's nothing new. It's absolutely nothing new. Do I think a 1989 World Series rematch is within the realm of possibility? Wow. Ethan, I was thinking about that the other day. I mean, you have two of the most winning baseball teams in Major League Baseball right now across the bay from each other. Long way to go. And I'm not just saying this because I've picked my side, and you guys all know that. But I'm not here to knock the Giants either. Gabe Kapler's interesting to me. Any team that's got Tommy La Stella on it, of course, I'm interested in. I do think Brandon Belt has the greatest initials of any baseball player. But no, in all seriousness, they're in a total rebuild. They're way overperforming in a division that's got the Padres and Dodgers, and it's just. I'm completely surprised to see them early on where they're at. I'm not surprised to see the A's where they're at. Now, look, let me just say this. I know the A's are going to go through tremendous hurdles this year in their division, and they're a much. Don't care what you say. They're a much better team than the Giants. I think we all know that. So I don't know. I'm going to hope for it. I would love to see that all over again. Absolutely. Highlight of my childhood. Bigger issue for the Sharks this season was in 26 losses, the Sharks had a lead in 16 and couldn't keep it. And I mean, how many games have we seen where, now granted, a 1-goal lead in the NHL is basically a tie game at this speed and at this rate and with this much parity. Parity, not parody. But yeah, no, that's AJ. You hit it perfectly. That's definitely a conversation that needs to be had about this team. And like I said, that's really what I want to do is put together a 35,000 foot video, looking down on everything going on, and trying to pick things out. Whether they're individuals or situations or circumstances or the financials or whatever. You feel like if they didn't get rid of Joe Pavelski and Brendan Dillon, Sharks would have had a better year. I mean, and that's the other thing is to say, well, it was like 2 years ago and they were in the conference final against St. Louis. Well, yeah, but to this point, it's a different team back then. And that's got to be considered. It doesn't feel like that long ago, and a lot of the players are the same, but it's not entirely the same group. Their depth right now is just not what it used to be. Oh, did I consider giving my leftover hair to Drew Remenda? We could call it Suit docks of love. Like locks of love, but suit. I'm going to screenshot this and send it to Drew. Or maybe you guys could do it. That's pretty funny. I'm going to text him about that. Now that you said it, that's my next chirp to Drew. And you know what? He's another person. So here's what I want to promise. In the coming weeks, I'll come on just like this, and I'll just go live with Brownie, and then another day I'll go live with Drew. Maybe Hanner's in for this. Maybe Honner's in for this. Maybe Hetty's in for this. And I'll just kind of go down the line, and we'll just talk about we'll debrief the season. You like that idea? I like that idea. Any rumblings about the new ballpark project lately? It's really in the hands of Oakland right now to get the environmental impact report squared away. I know there's also a whole separate conversation about the Coliseum land and the A's, that land being needed to be bought from the city of Oakland. This is all in the city right now. So I think the A's have pretty much pushed it up to this point. They've pushed it to the goal line. There's a couple major things still, but the point being is that it's not on the A's now to come through with something. It's on the city of Oakland. Jessica, earlier when I said, what are you, 22? 27. I was close. But again, thank you for the support. And I know you're always here too on the live streams, which is awesome. And I always do appreciate that. You're one of the first. You must have the bell thing turned on. All right. Let me hit a few more here. Oh, Caker Girl. I appreciate that. Absolutely. It is my pleasure to be here. Jessica's a fan of the Sharks, Giants, 49ers, and Warriors. Jessica, we gotta get you. You know, I don't know. I don't know what do you like about a baseball team? You like you like fun-loving guys? You like charismatic players? Do you like late inning heroics? What do you like? We've got something for everybody. So if I talk you into it. Oh, favorite A's jersey of all time. I know people love the white, the wedding gown white. Those home jerseys are clean. Nothing like it. Just they pop for whatever reason. And you know what? I really have always liked the grays. Now, I will say this. I would love to see current grays, or, same longtime grays, with the home hat. Green cap, gold bill. Like they used to wear in the 80s. I'd like to see that. But favorite jersey of all time, I got to say, it's this color. It's that Kelly green. When they debuted it in 2018, at first I was like, it's okay. It's not bad. It's kind of a weird color. And then I saw it like on the field, on the players, in the games. It's just, it's still filthy. It is still filthy. You think we all grew? I will say this, Jessica. It's possible because I've been doing TV stuff. Well, first off, I've been working in TV since '99, and I've been on since probably a few years after that, like '01 or '02. So it's been 20 years, and it was high school sports at first. Even covering a guy like Mark Canha or Marcus Semien way back when. Not to mention others too, but so yeah, I know it gives me the chills to think about that. That's awesome. Oh, there's an app for the Nano Leaf lights. When you get a super chat, it flickers. Oh, now that. See, Jolie, that's what I'm saving up for. That sounds pretty awesome. Do you remember the old Shark Bite 20 questions, quick quiz videos? Of course! You're darn right they're amazing. I'd be perfect to take over. Well, of course, because what I think you're trying to say, RJ, and great avatar, by the way, with the birdcage on. Of course I'd be perfect, because I'm better than Drew. Like, There's no question. I've got better questions. Players think I'm funnier than he is. I have hair. There's no Drew. Drew came up with all that stuff, and he is a legend, and he runs circles around me in that. I'd rather have Drew doing them, RJ, if I could be perfectly honest. And you know what? In years to come, when we're allowed to actually interact with athletes again, be in person, do those types of interviews, stuff like that will come back. It definitely will. What? ESPN's trying to get Gretzky? That one's going to be expensive. That one is definitely going to be expensive. Let's see here. I never thought I could break into the sports broadcasting business, but then I remember Nick writes, "Oh, hey, Joel, are you here? You're trashing somebody?" I won't put you on blast. Now, look, and I think what everybody realizes is that not everybody out there is their cup of tea, right? Like, you're not a Nick Wright fan. I get it. I will, and I don't watch a lot, but I do think he's got a good presence and delivery. But sometimes all that stuff is a facade. Now, I'm not saying that about him. I'm not at all. Not at all. But I think there are a lot of people who are so good at faking it that you'll just buy anything they say. And they're not even accurate in their comments and statements. But it comes across as being so genuine that you bought it, and everybody, and the majority bought it. So, and you know what, the shows that are all argumentative and debate based, like there's some place for that. Like there should probably be a couple shows like that, like maybe 2 total or 3, not 30. Turning sports into, and then everybody has the same argument that they just saw on TV. You go to your buddy, well, I think that, what do either of you know? Like, what do even I know sometimes? And that's the thing about sports. Like, you only know the bits and pieces and what you can put together with your own eyes and ears and stats that you are certainly observing. Like, those don't lie. But everything else is so hard to really, really, truly piece together. Everybody's talking about the NHL TV deals. This is everybody's interested. And again, I don't want to go into. I have some thoughts and opinions. At this point, though, it's premature, and since my company's involved, I'd rather just not dive in too deep yet. Hopefully we can talk about it later. With Luzardo injured and Fiers not performing the way we want to see him perform, do you think we'll see Puck or Jeffries? So, AJ, I'm not sure where he's at health-wise. Dalton Jeffries would be interesting, but I just want to go back to this. As I said before, every starter for Oakland this year took at least 2 starts to get going. So let's see where Fiers is at. Let's give him a couple more tries before we start thinking about other options. And I know everybody's frustrated from today, so it's still fresh. But let's go back to track record for just a second. Let's give it a little bit more time. You've got that luxury if you're the A's right now. John, I appreciate you on the super chat. Thank you so much. Oh, who is out there that the Sharks can get in this draft? And oh man, John, that is a great question. That's a great topic. That is something that here on May 6th, I am unprepared for. And I apologize for that. I have with our own hockey season, baseball. So here's what I'm going to do, John. one of the things, let me write this down actually. One of the things I'm going to do in that upcoming Sharks video is a look at all the draft picks they have, where they're at, how they got them, and to your question, what can you get with all that? Sharks draft picks for video. Let's just, you know what, John, while your name's on the screen here, a couple other things I want to talk about in that video. Knyzhov, his season. Evander Kane, I want to talk about his season. I want to talk about goaltending. And I've kind of had a change of heart. We've always had the debate. Is it team defense? Is it goaltending? And there's so many people who have been quick to jump on goaltending. It's been goaltending. All right. I saw that team give up 2-on-1s, 3-on-2s, 3-on-1s, 2-on-9. I saw them give all that up for so many years. And then it would be like, well, and, you know, opposition scores on Martin Jones. It's Martin Jones' fault. You got to come up with a big save. Well, okay. That happened 7 times in the game. How many big saves can a guy make? If he makes 5, it's still pretty good, but he still let up 2. And you lost 2-1 because you can't score. The point being is that I've changed a little bit in thinking that, you know, goaltending, you're going to have to go in some new directions. I'm not talking Martin Jones out of his current job or contract, or I'm not. But I feel like at this point, you may almost, and there's a contract there. What are you going to do? What can you do? You may just need a change of scenery. Or find somebody else that is the opportunity to be the number one and have Jones be your backup. And I know the structure's not set up that way financially, but yeah, I'm getting too deep into this, and I apologize for that. But I've always defended the goaltending. I've always said that it's not been great for a couple years, clearly, and the stats will prove it. But again, if you're going to throw save percentage at me and goals against, then I'm going to tell you that those are team stats, not individual stats. But at the same time, I think there comes a point where, you know, if you've been struggling in certain regards, it's no different than, why did my screen just go dark there? It's no different than Pete DeBoer being fired in 2019 because the team wasn't performing. I don't know that it was his fault entirely, but the team needed a change of scenery. So anyway, all this is going to be on an upcoming live stream video. So obviously all of you here are probably subscribed, and I do appreciate that. But if not, motivation to subscribe right there. What did Brownie say about doing a live stream? Oh, I'll make him say yes. I'll tell him I'll tell him there'll be free Pete's coffee. That's all you really need. He also loves Dunkin' Donuts coffee too. But that's a different, you know, it's a different style. I'll throw in like one little free thing for him and he'll be here. That's all you got to do. Hanner and Hetty. Oh, that would be lit. You know what? I wonder if we could do like a big old round table on here. Maybe we could just do it in one night and have everybody on. So that's a question. Would you rather, if I'm going to start doing a couple Sharks guests and kind of like a breakdown of the year, would you rather everybody just do it at once? I feel like in ways that might be better. I don't know. We'll see. I'll keep Brownie separate though, because nobody wants to hang out with him. I'll just hang out with him. Oh, that Caker girl, no wonder you were asking about Timo Meier. You'd love some interviews. All right, you know what? Last year we did them because of, you know, quarantine. But I'll see if I can get Timo to do it. In fact, the time that he and I did it, he was actually still back home in Switzerland. So probably was my first live interview from Switzerland. But that was pretty cool. All right, let me go back to some of the comments here. You know what? And I'm I'm going to actually kind of speed through these because what time is it? 11:07. All right. I'll get through a couple more, and I'm not going to be on here too much longer. I said I was going to be on here 30 minutes, and here I am in an hour and 20. Shocker. We all know you are a hardcore A's fan, but besides the Kelly green jerseys, what other team's jersey do you really like? That's a good question. Okay. The Diamondbacks, like gray, teal, burgundy ones that I know they're not completely popular. They're interesting. Those are interesting. Oh, I know. It just struck me. And I've something about the Dodgers, classic Dodgers. I've always liked that. Yankees doesn't do it. I'm talking about classic jerseys. Yankees doesn't really do it for me. Trying to think. Well, but I know the one. It's the Padres jerseys. And I think they're the version of pinstripes, brown pinstripes with gold lettering across the front. And do they also have a color one? Is it brown? Some of the new Padres jerseys, to me, all this Kelly green, this pop, they do this. Basically, they have this color with like a brown tone that also makes the gold pop. So maybe I'm just partial to that. But I love the Padres going to that, what I call doo-doo brown. I think that looks hot. I do. It's funny, as a kid in the 90s, I really liked the Marlins because it was teal. Like when the Sharks came out with teal and the Marlins debuted a couple years later, I thought that was awesome too. Let me just zip through this. Call the argument shows the false dichotomy. Yeah, it's just, there's too many of them. It became a blown-up genre, too big. What's up with Hasso, as in Sharks owner Hasso Plattner? Can you talk about anything? I'll tell you what, I don't know what you mean in specifics to that, Big Bird, but I'll tell you this. We had considered, before the whole pandemic went down, let's just say a few of us at NBC had the idea that maybe we could do and to give you an idea how long ago this idea was, we were like, we'll fly to Germany. We'll come to you. I don't know if that's happening anytime soon, but maybe we could do something with Hasso if he wanted to. And I think he's the type of person who'd probably rather not get in the middle of things, and especially when things are being reworked. But I would be interested. I honestly, we could actually do the whole thing, and if it was even less about hockey to do it, if I was told, hey, he doesn't want to get into moves and players and individuals, I'd be fine with that. I'm more curious to kind of know more about the person, and I know he wants to win. I know there's no question about that. But I wanted to kind of know what's behind. Just, who are you? I think a lot of people probably feel that way, and I think I know some, but I don't know a ton. So it'd be more. I would say if we were to ever do something like that, it'd be more informative than anything else. But I also know that he's there are some inroads. I think there's some possibility, but I also know he's a hard fish to catch. He's a hard fish to catch in that sense. It is not Jones. When I was saying before, he's a good goalie. And look, and that's my whole point. And what I was saying earlier, if I sounded extra critical of him all of a sudden, like out of nowhere, it's not that. It's just that he's had it rough, and the team in front of him's had it rough. And maybe it would do him better to get a fresh start in some other opportunity. Yeah, Brent Burns he improved his game a lot this year in cleaning it up defensively and limiting turnovers. And now, granted, I know people are going to, then people are going to throw out a million examples. But my point is, there was a concerted effort by 88 to be a tighter player this year. And I have to say, until I switched over to baseball on April 1st, that was one of the biggest themes, and maybe I'll put that in my Sharks year-end recap too. I thought Burnsy as a defenseman this year probably, And I know he's on the ice for a lot of goals against too, but he plays a lot of minutes. I'll defer to the experts on that, but I would say I don't think you see him go back to forward. Honestly, I know, and here's the thing. I know a lot of people want that because they remember how good he looked. Wasn't he playing with Joe Thornton, though, primarily, like the entire time when he was up front? Like Joe Thornton of 2013? So there's a little bit of that to it also, too, right? Because when people suggest it, and he has since won the Norris Trophy, and I know that his seasons have not been of the Norris variety necessarily since, and I'm not saying that I'm not knocking him down as a forward either. I'm just saying that those were different times. It was a different situation, individually, team-wise, line-wise. I don't know that he has that same setup right now. And you know what? Do you remember the goal he scored against the Wild on that first road trip of this year? Was it the first road trip? I think so. In Minnesota. Well, no, was it the first? When was that game? It was their first trip out to Minnesota, and I think the first or second game. And he dangled literally 5 Wild players jumping into play and scoring and going top shelf. It was a forward-like move. And he's always going to play like a forward even if he's a defenseman. So you're not necessarily not getting it anymore. But if you're asking to see it on a regular basis, and then the other question for me is, isn't the blue line one of your challenge spots already on the team? And if you want to take Burns away from that, how do you fill that gap? So it's kind of like plugging one hole to leave another one open. All right. Let me see here. It's 12:08. Yeah, you know what? It's 11:15. Oh, what am I doing here? What am I doing? Oh, the Giants have some cool jerseys? Oh no. Yeah, refreshed Padres jerseys, gotta say. Let me see. You'll fight Brownie if that gets him back on the podcast. He's going to hit you? What? How can we do this virtually? Darius. Oh, man, I appreciate that, Darius. Hey, check it. Well, you know what? I didn't even really I didn't even style it or anything. This is what it looks like. Oh, this is what it'll look like when I wake up tomorrow morning, too. So completely unstyled. But I like when I put some gel in it. I'm telling you, Sharp Barbershop in Lafayette and Pleasant Hill. They have a location in Pleasant Hill. I go to the Lafayette one. Those guys cut it right. You get a good haircut. And you know what? Don't get me wrong. It's more expensive than going to a chain haircut location, but it is nowhere near as expensive as you could spend on it. And also, if you think about it, to know you're going to get a really, really good haircut every single time, isn't that, if that matters to you, this is worth your investment, right? The extra $20 you're going to spend on this, it's worth it. It's definitely worth it. Sharp Barbershop, Lafayette, Pleasant Hill. They're awesome. And Darius, you're awesome too. I really appreciate you on the super chat. Like I was saying before, every super chat contribution goes to this little place right here. It's all totally separate. I occasionally get new stuff so I can, switch cameras. Another thing besides the nano leaf, the colored light effect, I'd also actually like to get another GoPro camera and put it somewhere else. Maybe I could put it up above, or I'd like to get another camera angle in here so I could go from camera 1, camera 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So wait, I'm on 2. Then I could do 3 cameras, right? So maybe I'll eventually get to that. How's Mario doing, by the way? Oh, we're on Yoshi's Island. So stuff like that, or what else did I wonder if I can see that. Yeah, I added this thing. It's called, oh, wait, it's going to come back. Give it a second. All right, it's back. I added this thing. It's called the Geochron. And whoop. And this thing is like a moving world map. This is pretty cool. And a lot of times I'll just put this on the live stream with some music. But anyway, long story short, I just constantly add stuff here to the home studio. And I've added a better microphone and better audio processing just to make the experience a lot better. So thank you, Darius. I appreciate that. Oh, and Sunday Night Sushi. I appreciate you for being here on the Super Chat, too. Vlasic Braun 2024. Are they running for Department of Player Safety, President and Vice President? You know what? Sunday night, because you mentioned this, or would you like me to call you Sushi? I'll call you whatever you want because you're in the Super Chat. When Justin Braun departed, I don't think people, kind of in the same way that Brendan Dillon was underappreciated, like Justin Braun was, and I'm not saying one player's better than the other between Bronner and Dilly. I'm just saying that Bronner was the first to go, and it was like, oh, Sharks are so loaded, they'll make up for it, don't worry about it. And then now, in retrospect, I wonder if they still had him, where they'd be, how things would be going. I think looking back, we're talking about departures of Pavelski and Joe Thornton and, Brendan Dillon, other depth players, Barclay Goodrow. I think a player like Justin Braun gets overlooked, and easily. Like I get why, it's nobody's fault, but what he meant to Vlasic as a partner, what he meant to the team, all these things now that are just a lot easier to see in reverse as opposed to real time. All right, I think Christina. Hey, Christina. You're still not used to my short hair. Don't we remember each other from years and years of me looking like this? It's not, actually, I don't think, and it doesn't look that much different than it used to. It's just that I haven't, should pull up like old videos or something, but I haven't, I'm still getting used to it too. But I think, a year, 14 months of letting it grow out, you forget this. Like you forget, I shouldn't. I looked this way for years and years and years and years, but you're right. It is still a little bit shocking to instantly, to spend so long in the grow and then boom, go right back to the old version. So, I said this before, you might've missed this on the live stream because I've been going now for a while. That when people tell me, "Oh yeah, I liked your long hair better," I'm like, "Are you serious? Like, are you messing with me right now?" Like, I appreciate them if that's their take. I have to say how terribly inconvenient long hair is. I sleep so much better now. Working out, I just wipe my head once and all the sweat comes off. It's not, it's just so much better. Oh, AJ. What's the worst cut I've had in working on TV? Well, Dark Knight, to be honest, I was telling somebody this the other day, and it's completely true. Somewhere in the early 2010s, maybe 09 or 10, I started getting, how should I say this? Just more expensive haircuts than I ever had before. And it's not, look, I had always been going to somebody I really liked. I had regulars at like a Supercuts, and they did a great job, and that was fine for all those years. But then at some point, to your point, Dark Knight Driver, I realized that if I had a bad haircut, I was going to have to live with that for weeks at a time, or, however long, on television over and over and over, and it was going to bug me. So in the same way that I have to buy suits and I have to, do things for appearance, I realized that spending a little bit extra every haircut was an investment that I should make. And so getting really good hair and living in San Francisco like I was for a long time, there were plenty of like really high quality places to get your hair cut. Proper barber shops and salons. And so I found a couple really, really talented people who could cut hair. And I tried to go to the same people over and over and over. And it's changed a few times, but now I've found something new and great at Sharp Barbershop in Lafayette and Pleasant Hill. And so now I'll be rolling there for, I think and I hope, a long time. So, but to your point, yeah, there was a couple times, so it's been a long time, but there was a couple times long ago that I would get, way too short on top. No, nothing ever like really egregious, but just a couple times, like just usually that was it. Way shorter or faded up way too high. You can tell a really good haircut from or even an average one. And I'm sure at the time nobody roasted me like that, but nowadays if I got a bad haircut and Brownie were sitting beside me, he'd say something. You absolutely know he'd say something. You want a curly mustache? You want the you want the handlebar mustache? See what I can do. All right, a couple more here. Dev Gambit, what's your favorite mic of all time? Like above the U87 AI. It's this one. I got to say, Dev. And maybe you're a microphone connoisseur. I'm kind of a microphone junkie myself. I just like things to look and sound good. But yeah, this microphone, the Neumann U87 AI, is it's a lifetime mic. It's an end game microphone. I've also had and really love the Neumann TLM 103. And the Sennheiser MKH 416 is another great microphone for various different purposes, by the way. The Electrovoice RE20. Everybody's like, what are you talking about all of a sudden? I'm talking microphones here. I'm talking broadcast studio microphones. The RE20 is a great mic. Really, really good mic. But the one that I want in front of me at all times right now is this guy, the Neumann U87 AI. So it is it's a staple. I'm lucky to have it. And I'll hopefully be using this thing for decades at this point. This is a good one. I don't know why this one was highlighted, but I'm glad it was. Question about your career. How do you see yourself progressing in the industry? Would you prefer to stay in the local sports scene, or would you entertain national or big network opportunities? Joseph, I appreciate you asking me that. That's a deep question, and it's probably the deepest one I've gotten all night. Progressing, I would say there have been some opportunities for me in the last handful of years to try something new, go a different direction. I love the teams I get to cover. I love the people I get to work with, like my direct teammates, like the people that work with me on shows, producers, and everybody in between. And so I'm not really eager to bounce out into something else. At the same respect, if something came along to me that was too good to pass up, no matter where it is, I would have to entertain it, but it would have to be really good. Because I'm quite content. A lot of people, you find two sorts of people. You find people who are constantly on the move, constantly looking for what's next and what's more. And then you find some people who are just really content, and their goal is to not keep jumping up. It's to have longevity. And growing up here in the Bay Area, there have been some outstanding broadcasters. They've all had great longevity. And if I could duplicate and replicate some of that, that'd be the catch for me. So hope that answers your question. I would entertain anything and everything. I would listen to, of course. I think some things I could instantly say, not my thing, and it's not what I'm interested in. But you always got to be flexible, and you always have to be looking ahead, and you always kind of have to be developing and growing. you're a voice. You're into voice acting, and an audio nerd too. Hey, you know what? We're all equipment junkies in this production business. The U87 is an amazing mic. Yeah, it's my favorites. One of my favorites. Mike West, thank you. I appreciate that. It's all in the processing. I actually, what you mean to say is I sound terrible. The equipment sounds great. That's true. Larry Beal and Mark Ibanez, they went national. I think maybe Larry was national. He started national and then I think he started local, went national, came back. Anyway, long story short, you're hoping I don't disappear. I hope not to. I don't wish I could call more shots in the career of longevity, but I'll hang on as long as I can. Ooh, the Shure 55S. Now we're talking mics here on the live stream. Check this out. Now we're getting heavy into equipment. Oops, wait, hang on this one first. Have a good stream. Never seen you live before. Hey, cool to say hi. Dev, I appreciate it. Thanks for being here. Is that a Soundcraft signature mixer in front of you? Yes, it absolutely is. Soundcraft signature MTK12 multi-track mixer. I kind of use this more for, man, I'm thirsty. I'm going to really need a drink of water. The live element of broadcasting when I was doing all this stuff this summer, the pre and post game shows, do a mix minus out of here. Long story short. This does a lot of audio routing. This is Universal Audio Apollo Twin X, which is pretty hot, by the way, right now. This does all the audio processing. This is a Blackmagic Design A10 Mini Pro ISO. This is for streaming and recording videos. I change camera angles on here. I can put different stuff on the screen over there. I have two Elgato Stream Decks. This is the XL. It's got, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I don't even know. 8 times 4, 32 buttons on this guy, all hotkey programmable. And then I have a Stream Deck Mini, 6 buttons there. Anyway, I can do a lot of stuff here. I don't want to hit anything now because it'll change the camera, but then a Keychron K2 keyboard, a mouse that I get chirped on. This mouse is nothing special. Apparently I need a much better like gaming mouse, but I don't have that. And then this microphone, the Neumann U87 AI. So that's a quick run through. LaCroix, you know what? I just need water right now at this point. Just need some water. Your band and you recently drained your funds for a signature. Oh, a signature 22. Yeah, that's a fat one, huh? That's like this. It's just 22 channels to mix. That's awesome. And you can record on the multi-track mixer. Obviously record every track individually into your DAW. That's great. That's great. Olson's Black Eye. Oh, we're back to sports now. Yes. It's been fun to see him. Hey, is Matt Chapman on a certain hit streak? I'm not going to say it. I don't want to jinx it. Look it up. The answer is yes, he is. So we're going to have to figure out how we'll talk about that. We'll figure out how we can talk about that tomorrow without saying it or jinxing him. Equipment talk. That's when I know I got to sign off because I start getting too far wide here. Oh, favorite 3 A's players of all time. Is Terry Steinbach in there? Is Carney Lansford in there somewhere? Nick Swisher is in there. Xavi's in there. Mark Ellis is in. I'm probably not naming the ones you'd think I'd name. Mark and Jose, Stu's in there. Ricky's in there. I don't know. Impossible for me to answer that one. All right. That is going to do it. I got to sign off. I'm thirsty. I'm tired. I appreciate everybody for being here in the live stream. All of you who commented, who watched, who were in on the super chat. Are you serious? It's really going to help out the future of this little thing here. We'll do more of these. And like I said, the big things coming in the next couple weeks. Overall Sharks recap. And I am going to get a couple friends of the Sharks. And maybe some Sharks players eventually, but friends of the Sharks on here to kind of dissect what we saw this season, figure out where we go from here. So that does it. Would you Would you like some music to go out to? Is that loud enough? You know what this is, by the way? Just gonna shake, shake, shake. Here we go. Heartbreaker's gonna break. I'm just gonna shake, 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 shake. Shake it off, shake it off. All right. That's it. I'm out. Good night.
Thank you.